January opens wide. August bends the brittle flowers flat against the roadside. Canvas bag and thermos lid, bootlace pulled and knuckles tight. Dust remembers what it did to every passing tire at night. Aspen leaves and restless weather turn their silver backs to noon. Footprints pressed and held together by a fading harvest moon. Firewood stacked in careful crosses, kindling thin as paper bones. Flame begins in patient tosses, breathing through the cones. Daylight thinning into copper, shadows stretching long and lean. All the noise I couldn't properly lay down slips between the green. There's a language in the open, spoken low in wind and flame, where the smallest spark unbroken doesn't need a name. Every mile loose and slowly falls away like settling loam. Out where quiet moves so holy, I don't feel alone. Ooh. Kettle hums a modest rhythm, steam against the cooling air. Crickets stitching up the dim with a steady, patient care. Back against a fallen cedar, watching embers pulse and fade. Night grows taller, deeper, freer in the dark it made. Stars aligning without hurry, cold and clean above the plain. All the thoughts that used to worry drift like distant rain. There's a language in the open, spoken low in wind and flame, where the smallest spark unbroken doesn't need a name. Every mile loose and slowly falls away like settling loam. Out where quiet moves so holy, I don't feel alone. Far from signal, far from siren, past the fences and the grain. Breath and earth begin their tying in a soft, unspoken chain. There's a language in the open, carried in the wind's low tone. Out where quiet moves so holy, I don't feel
Grain silos shrinking in the mirror, evening bending into gray, headlights drawing closer, clearer, lines along the county way. Windows cracked to let the cold in, air that tastes of iron and rain. Sky unfolding wide and olden, stretching past the last domain. Switchback climbing through the timber, gravel loose beneath the tread. Bootsteps slow and growing dimmer, where the deer and fox have led. Canvas pitch beside a clearing, stakes driven into patient ground. Fire struck without endearing, just a spark and then light receding into copper blue, collecting in the pines. All the hurry, every stopper falls between the thinner lines. Let the hills keep what they're holding, let the dark arrive unplanned. There's a quiet way of folding into something older than. Every ember marks a boundary between the known and what we guess. Out beyond the reach of foundry, hearts can settle into less. Creek stone cold beneath the fingers, water turning black and slow. Lantern glow that barely lingers on the bark and fallen snow. Kettle breathing into starlight, steam dissolving in the air. Night ascending without bar, right wide enough for any care. Frost along the edge of denim, the ribbon thin and white. All the thoughts we tried to hem and loosen in the open night. Let the hills keep what they're holding, let the dark arrive unplanned. There's a quiet way of folding into something older than. Every ember marks a boundary between the known and what we guess. Out beyond the reach of foundry, hearts can settle into less. Past the last reflected shoulder, past the map's decisive bend. Sky grows wider, deeper, colder, like a story without end. Let the hills keep what they're holding, let the night lay down its hand. There's a quiet way of folding into something older than.
Gravel dust in the rear view drifting, fading like a breath let out. Telephone poles slowly shifting into silhouettes of doubt. Engine heat and daylight thinning, windows cracked to let it through. Fields of amber softly spinning under skies of washed out blue.
前方有可转向测速照相，限速
50公里
，60公里。
读了一本书呢，坦白讲，在投
Birch
资
bark
的这
pale
个
along the hillside,
这才
peeling
是漂
back
亮
in
的，这
paper
才是这门
seams.
课我。
其实我完全赞
Footsteps
成你的
wandering
说
without a guide toward the hush between the streams. Matches strike and briefly shimmer, then surrender to a flame. Smoke ascends in threads that glimmer, never twice the same. Evening settles on the tree line,
因为从这个就
cool
会的
against the
但如果你
warning
是自然电
skin.
子的，你可以设置在我们讲的
All
去年
the
年的
rush
时候
that
12月
once was mine loses where it might have been. Let the horizon hold the question wide enough for what I don't know. There's a mercy in the distance. where the steady winds still blow. Every spark becomes a signal, every shadow turns to tone. Out beyond the last retrieval, I am quiet as a stone. Lantern light on scattered timber, circles breathing on the ground. Owls calling lower and thinner, more like presence than like sound. Boots beside the riverbank, now mud and water at the seam. The night unfolding without a vow, deep and patient as a dream. Darkness resting on the ridgeline, cool against the warming skin. All the weight that once was mine softens where the stars begin. Let the horizon hold the question, wide enough for what I don't know. There's a mercy in the distance where the steady winds still blow. Every spark becomes a signal, every shadow turns to tone. Out beyond the last retrieval, I am quiet as a stone. Past the reach of any roadway, past the need to name the view. Breath and earth and sky and slow sway shape the night into something true. Let the horizon hold the question. Let it widen, let it roam. Out beyond the last retrieval, I am quiet as a stone. Smoke threading through the cedar, low and blue against the dusk. Gravel cooling by the river, metal tasting faint with rust. Backseat packed with folded blankets, headlights tend to let it be. Skyline wide and unromantic, open as a memory. Tall grass leaning toward the highway, bowed by wind, it never stays. Boot soles finding their own byway through the thistle, silver haze. Pine cones split with quiet cracking, sparks rehearsing how to rise. Dark and slowly, gently stacking, layer after layer of sky. Evening lays its copper on us, soft as dust on worn out jeans. All the hours that once outwon us settle in the in-between. Let the fire burn down easy, let it speak in ash and coal. There's a truth that comes in pieces when the land outgrows control. Every shadow turns to breathing, every breath becomes its own. Out where silence has its meaning in the marrow of the stone. River bending past the clearing, black and glassy in the night. Lantern glow just barely nearing edges of the tree line light. Kettle sighing into still dissolving in the cold. Stars arranged without a witness, bright and ancient, uncontrolled. No one calling from the distance, no one naming what we see, just the quiet impersistence, like the slow unending sea. Let the fire burn down easy, let it speak in ash and coal. There's a truth that comes in pieces when the land outgrows control. Every shadow turns to breathing, every breath becomes its own. Out where silence has its meaning in the marrow of the stone. Past the reach of any signal, past the lines on any chart, night becomes a steady vigil, keeping watch inside the dark. Let the fire burn down easy, let it fade but not be gone. Out where silence has its meaning, we keep listening till dawn.
Pale light spilling through the cottonwoods, river flat as hammered tin, moaning, moving through the undergrowth with a cool and steady grin. Back row bending out of eyesight, fence posts fading into haze, engine quiet in the half-light, dust suspended in its wake. Footpath rising through the leaves, shadow shifting under the wind, rehearsing through the pine line. Every sound it wants to steal, canvas breathing in the clearing, knots pulled tight and simple made, fire struck without endearing, just a spark that learned to stay. Daylight thinning into amber, blue collecting in the seams, all the restless borrowed clamor drifts away like distant streams. Let the horizon take its measure, let it widen, let it roll. There's a quiet kind of treasure in places left alone. Every ember draws a boundary between the now and what has been. Out beyond the mapped out foundry, we grow small, deep within. Creek stone cold against the palm now, water speaking low and slow, lantern glow along the calm brow of the dark that starts to grow, kettle humming into starlight, steam unraveling in white, sky unfolding layer by night, past the edges of the light. Frost along the cuff of denim, breath like smoke that disappears, all the thoughts we tried to hem and settle softly. Let the horizon take its measure, let it widen, let it roll. There's a quiet kind of treasure in places left alone. Every ember draws a boundary between the now and what has been. Out beyond the mapped out foundry, we grow small, deep within. Past the last reflected marker, past the final mile of sun, Night grows deeper, wider, darker. Let the horizon take its measure, let it wide and let it roam. There's a quiet kind of treasure in the places left alone. Every ember draws a boundary between the now and what has been. Out beyond the mapped out boundaries we grow small. Deep within.
前方有固定测速照相，限速50公里，150公尺。
Like a hymn with no words. Trail cut thin through alder thicket, leaves like copper on the ground. Footsteps fall impatient.
你好，是要收30块哦。
Canvas breathing in the clearing, knots pulled tight with steady hands. Flame begins without endearing, just a glow that understands. Day dissolving into ember, blue replacing what was golden. All the noise I can't remember finds the earth and lets it hold. Let the far hills blur their borders, let the tree line lose its claim. There's a peace in smaller quarters of the dark without a name. Every ember draws a circle, every spark a fleeting sign. Out beyond the sharpened verbal, I am less and more aligned. Creek runs black beneath the willows, silver threads along its side. Lantern light a trembling halo where the deeper shadows hide. Kettle humming low and hollow, steam unraveling into night. Stars with nothing left to follow, lean into the widening height. Frost along the cuff of denim, breath like smoke that disappears. All the thoughts I tried to hem in fade beyond these open years.
准备了，3、2、1，开始！厉害哦！脚往再走，脚往再走，到了脚往再走。歪头摇一摇尾巴，歪头摇一摇尾巴。准备第二个站起来，第二个臂站起来，准备了。比2。好，拖两很厉害哦。
Past the map's decisive bend, night grows deeper, wider, darker, like a road without an end. Let the far hills blur their borders, let the quiet intertwine. Out beyond the sharpened verbal, I am less and more alive. Fence wire humming in the wind.
Flatland stretching pale and thin, dusty hood with daylight pinned like a note beneath the skin. Compass trembling on the dash, north unsure but still implied. Clouds and slow and silver ash drift the length of countryside. Juniper on the shoulder, bittersweet against the heat. Bootprint pressing deeper, colder, where the dirt and gravel meet. Timber stacked in patient layers, kindling dry as brittle bone. Flame begins without our prayers, finding oxygen alone. Twilight tilts the field to amber, soft as rust on weather tin. All the noise we used to harbor thins and lets the stillness in. There's a widening in the distance, like a door without a frame, where the smallest act of listening outlives any name. Every mile sheds its echo, every thought lays down its load. Out beyond the last of let's go on a nameless stretch of road. Riverbank of shale and willow, water dark as tempered glass. Lantern glow, a floating halo on the tall and bending grass. Crickets keep a steady meter, stars unfasten one by one. Night grows deeper, slower, sweeter, long after the sun is done. Breath turns visible and fleeting, silver threads and cooling air. All the hours we've been defeating, satellitely everywhere. There's a widening in the distance, like a door without a frame, where the smallest act of listening outlives any name. Every mile sheds its echo, every thought lays down its load. Out beyond the last of let's go on a nameless stretch of road. Past the fences and the boundary, past the last electric line. Earth becomes its own foundry, forging quiet out of time. There's a widening in the distance, still and honest as it showed. Out beyond the last resistance on a nameless stretch of road.
我记得我爸爸70岁的时候，他曾经跟我说，因为他比较早婚嘛，他70岁时，我大概也已经40多了。
Wind shaking the tall white birches, paper bark against the sky. Sunlight spilling in small surges through the branches, leaning high. Gravel turning into clay now, tires humming soft and low. Fence lines bending out of the way somehow, where the open fields still go. Backpack resting by the tree line, zippers catching evening air. Boot soles dark with loam and pine, breath made visible in prayerless care. Kindling snap from fallen timber, risen bright along the seam. Flame arriving slow and tender, like a thought you didn't mean. Daylight thinning into amber, blue collecting in the leaves. All suspension, past the lines that highways draw. Night becomes a soft suspension, held in breath and held in awe. Let the distance do the talking, let it rise and let it roam. Out where silence grows in kinder, we are steady as a stone.
Morning frost along the railing, silver on the sleeping ground. Backpack straps and breath are trailing, little ghosts without a sound. Highway thinning into gravel, radio losing every name. Fields unspooling as we travel, sunlight bending just the same.
Crows rise slow above the timber, black against the faded blue. Boot heels wake the roots in ember, hidden where the old fire grew. Canvas pitch beside the clearing, kettle balanced on a stone. Pine sap sweet and sharp and hearing every place I've ever known. Wind moves easy through the branches, nothing here to rearrange. All the hurry the day advances falls away without a change. Let the quiet take its measure, let it circle like a hand. There's a kind of borrowed treasure in the patience of the land. Every step becomes a question, every breath a steady thread. Out beyond the last direction, where the light and shadow spread. Evening leans against the ridge line, amber pooling in the west. Smoke writes letters in a thin line, then erases what it guessed. Tin cup warming near the coals now, sparks rehearsing how to ride. Night unfolding without vows, wide and unafraid of sight. Wind moves softer through the branches, nothing here to rearrange. All the noise the day advances fades into a slower range. Let the quiet take its measure, let it circle like a hand. There's a kind of borrowed treasure in the patience of the land. Every step becomes a question, every breath a steady thread. Out beyond the last direction, where the light and shadow spread.
stars collect in open weather.
Cold and close and fiercely clear.
All the miles we hold together settle gently out here. Let the quiet take its measure. Let it rest where we now stand. There's a kind of borrowed treasure in the patience of the land. Steam rising off the river in the early autumn chill. Sunlight trembling on the silver of a slow and patient spill. Gravel shoulder engine quiet, door left open to the breeze. Fields laid out in simple riot of tall and tawny weeds. Footpath threading through the spruce line, needles soft beneath the tread. Boot heels marking out a loose line where the deer in daylight fled. Canvas leaning into branches, knots pulled firm but unrefined. Fire coax from smaller chances, breathing warm against the pine. Light goes amber then to fading, blue collects along the bark. All the weight of overstating falls away into the dark. Let the valley keep its echo, let the hills refuse a name. There's a comfort in the slow flow of the smoke that leaves the flame. Every ember draws a border between the now and what has gone. Out beyond the need for order, we can rest and carry on. Creek stone cold against the knuckles, water folding into night. Lantern glass and small bright buckles of a flickering fragile light. Kettle murmuring in low tones, steam unraveling thin and white. Stars arranging quiet milestones across the widening night. Frost along the cuff of denim, breath like silver in the seam. All the thoughts we tried to hem in drift away like distant steam. Let the valley keep its echo, let the hills refuse a name. There's a comfort in the slow flow of the smoke that leaves the flame. Every ember draws a border between the now and what has gone. Out beyond the need for order, we can rest and carry on. Past the last reflectored marker, past the map's decisive line. Sky grows deeper, wider, darker, rooted like an ancient pine. Let the valley keep its echo, let the quiet stay the same. There's a comfort in the slow flow of the smoke that leaves the flame. 我